ॐ वाङ् मे मनसि प्रतिष्ठिता मनो मे वाचि प्रतिष्ठितम् आविराविर्मयेद्धि वेदस्य आनीस्थः श्रुतं मे मा प्रहसिः अनेनाधीतेन होरात्रान् संदधामि ऋतं वदिष्यामि सत्यं वदिष्यामि तन्मामवतु तद्वक्तारमवतु अवतु माम् अवतु वक्तारम् अवतु वक्तारम् ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः. So this is the Shanti Patha of Rig Veda, yes? Before we read any Rigvedic text, we have to make this Shanti Patha. Yeah, most probably you know it by heart also, yes? Vang me manasi pratishtita. So the first hymn, I'm coming back to my story, and then, introduction. Yeah. Should I say it or no, not necessary?
Sure. Oh, please. No, please.
Yeah. Okay. And,
yes, go ahead.
And what was interesting at that time that I was not really very enthusiastic. I thought, oh, first hymn of the Rig Veda, nothing special, and I would just do the translation, and that's it. And then I discovered that it is not a simple hymn, and then I understood why it is first in the Rig Veda. And we will see it at the end of this analysis that actually it is the hymn which is as if in a nutshell having the whole concept of the sacrifice and what is happening in the dynamic sense, not only in the static manner, but in the dynamic sense. We will see the dynamism, what is happening here. That is the whole happening taking place. And so let us look into this. And the first line is the most important, as usual. Agnim. Should I read with Vedic accent, or you?
Yes.
Most probably
Vedic
like
accent.
Vedic.
Agnim.
Yeah. Agnimihile purohitam yajnasya devam ritvijam hotaram ratnadhatamam. So we can see that this reading is Anudatta, Udatta, Svarita, three different accentuations where they are marking the Udatta, the morphological accent in the word. So we have morphological accent is the accent which we know as, usually it is one accent in each word. Agnim ile purohitam yajnasya devam ritvijam hotaram ratnadhatamam. This was the proper morphological accent. And to mark it, we have Anudatta preceding it, low pitch, and then the falling pitch which is following it. So we have Agnim ile. And the ancient way of reading it, at least in Rig Pratishakya, it is prescribed not to read in the way I read. I read in the Taittiriya style, which is known to us today. But in the Rig Pratishakya, in the prescription how this text is to be read, there had to be only two pitches. Yeah? The highest pitch is the Udatta, and the falling pitch, Svarita, is to be not higher than Udatta, and I'm reading it higher. So it should be like this: Agnimile purohitam yajnasya devam ritvijam. But nobody reads this way Rig Veda today. There are some Brahmins who are reading, actually. I met them who read in pure Rig Pratishakya style. But it's not popular Taittiriya style is more popular, where Svarita is read higher than Udatta. Agni mihile purohitam yajnasya devam rutvijam hotaram ratnadhatamam. I can say many more things about accent, but it is not the issue today, just to give you a taste of this. And I think I would even reconstruct text to read it properly with Udatta and not really to follow this Vedic accent, because Vedic accent is only recording the Udatta. It is as if this way allowed people to preserve the proper text, that we have an authentic text at the end. So, but it is not important, because when they use this text in yajnas, in the sacrifices, in the rituals, they never read this way. It is always read ekashruti, because this way it is basically to preserve the text properly. It's like recording, yeah? Tape recorder in a way, to preserve text and with the proper udatta. I'm not sure that you understand me fully, but if you have some questions or some remarks, you always can interrupt and tell me or ask me. I will always answer.
Oh, you should never say that to me. I'm a big interrupter.
Yeah, please do.
I like
you. You opened Pandora's box, Vladimir.
Yeah.
Julia has a beautiful inquiring mind. She really does. So, Julia, no, you should feel free to ask questions.
Well, what I was going to say is, in the Taittiriya style, if you have that that accent, don't you think that accent, that I guess udatta, is significant in terms of the meaning as well?
Right. Exactly. Yes, and what is interesting about the text, if you compare all the udattas throughout the text of every word, you will find that they are all identical. So to say, you will never meet the word agnim with udatta on the first syllable, always on the second one. And that tells us that we are dealing with authentic text. Because otherwise you would have always some new udatta or new shift of accent, which is the case in Taittiriya actually. In Taittiriya Samhita there are many varieties, because the text is quite corrupt. But not in the Rig Veda.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Well,
so, yeah.
No, it's okay.
Mm-hmm.
Go ahead.
There are many more things to say, that this kind of style of reading, this was marking the udatta, because that was the most important thing to preserve. That means the syllables and the length of the syllables and the udatta in the word. And chandas is not allowing us to preserve both, because chandas is changing. If I would read to you as it should be read as a poetry, it would be very difficult to read, because chandas has its own meter. For example, iambic meter here we have Gayatri, ta 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 ta. And because of this meter, if I put on the top proper morphological accent, there will be always a different picture of the poetry. And because
is this Gayatri? This isn't Gayatri, is it?
Yeah, it is Gayatri.
Yeah, I could see Chandaha Gayatri right on the top.
Gayatri
right under the number 1.
3 times 8, yes. Anushtup is 4 times 8, yes, and Gayatri is 3 times 8. If you add one more line, one more pada, there will be Anushtup or Shloka. If we take one off, there will be Gayatri. But Gayatri is interesting because there is a gap, there is a pause in after the second line, before the third. So it's like ta 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 ta, and then pause. Ta 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 ta. So that you see this danda standing in between. So it should be Agnim ile purohitam yajnasya devam ritvijam hotaram ratnodhatamam. Agni purvebhir rishibhir idiyo nutanairuta sadevan eha vakshati. And so on. So it's iambic rhythm. But on this iambic rhythm, there is superimposed, the different words with different udatta, and that is impossible to combine and to preserve over thousands of years. So there was a style invented to preserve udatta and chandas and all the words. And this is the style, Agni Mihile Purohitam. And it is also not on the empty spot, because what is interesting, they observed how we speak, and when we make the accent, just listen to my English, the accent, I'm kind of, when I'm putting the accent on the word, so you see the difference, word, accent. So there will be always a shift in the voice. And there was the whole study made in the Indo-European languages that we have from the first to the fifth note, from the do to sol, we are raising our voice when we are using language to emphasize, to use the morphological accent, to use the morphological, this accent. There will be always satisfaction. And those who are using language, they are always, so in order to emphasize the morphological accent, we have to lower the voice before, one syllable before, and that is anudatta. So in order to make agnim, we have to first syllable to lower it, and that's why we make it anudatta. But once we raise the voice, it's very difficult to lower it again. So the next pitch, the next syllable will have the falling pitch, which is svarita. So this is a natural way of speaking was taken into the account to create the system of marking the udatta. So it's in a way natural. It's quite interesting to observe these things. So in a way...
Are there three pitches then? There are three pitches.
Right.
There's
Yeah.
So the fall afterwards is a middle pitch.
The fall is falling from the higher pitch to the lower pitch, and this fall is 1/3 high pitch and 2/3 low pitch. It is described like this.
It goes all the way then. Okay.
So it is like Agni Mile Purohitam. So it is kind of falling. That was Svarita. But in Taittiriya style, to make it more distinct, they made it even higher than Udatta. So it happened to be higher, though it shouldn't be higher than Udatta. Uchai Udatta, says Panini in his Ashtadhyaya. He says the highest is Udatta, cannot be higher pitch than Udatta. But they made Svarita higher in Taittiriya style. And in Taittiriya Pratishakya, they exactly describe this, that Svarita should be higher than Udatta. But we know it anyhow. It's kind of interesting that this preference was made in the whole recitation in India. Taittiriya style dominated all other styles. So, and we like it because there is this kind of melody. But anyhow, I'm stopping here with this introduction and go to the meaning. So here in the first line, Agni Ile, I adore Agni. Ile. You see this special sign, which is cerebral L. It is available only in the Rig Veda, in the Veda in general. L, yeah? Tamil, Tamil. This tongue is turned backward, and it is L, which is cerebral, not a dental L. Agnimira. It is from cerebral D. Agnimira. In the intervocal position, it will become L. I adore Agni, or Sri Aurobindo even translates it in an interesting way. He says, I seek Agni with adoration.
I do what? I
seek.
Seek. Okay.
I seek with adoration the fire. And it is, I think it's more correct, because id is to move, to want, to seek, and to adore at the same time. So I seek with adoration the fire, the flame, purohitam, put in front. Yeah? Literally it is hita, put, purah, in front. It's also purohit, who is the priest, the major priest. Yeah? Yajnasya devam, the god of the sacrifice. Ritvijam, the one who sacrifices according to the ritu. Ritu is the season. Yeah? We have 4 seasons, 5 seasons, according to Indian calendar. And according to these seasons, he knows how to sacrifice according to the time of the year. Hotaram, the summoner, the invoker of the gods. Ratnadhatama, the one who bestows the greatest of riches. Ratna, riches. Dha, bestowing, establishing. Tama, most. A very Vedic word. Otherwise, you will not find such compositions in the classical Sanskrit.
The one who
I have a question about. Sorry,
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Oh, I just wanted the one who bestows the highest riches.
Yeah, but it is, you see, there is no Ratnatama Dha. It is Ratnadha Tama. So the one who bestows most of the riches, who is the most establishing, who is the best in establishing the riches. So in a way, this, because Tama is a superlative suffix which is added to the Dha and not to the Ratna. That's why I say in classical Sanskrit you will not find such word. There will be never Tama suffix to the root. It's actually prohibited by grammar to do such things.
Oh, so I think I'm understanding what you mean. And Tama normally on a noun for comparative and superlative. And here it's on Da, the root itself.
Right.
Yeah.
So the Vedic Sanskrit is much more flexible in that sense. It allows unexpected movement. Yeah. But
I had a question about Ritvijam. So isn't another synonym for priest besides Purohat, isn't it? It's also Ritvij.
Yes, it is. It is a priest.
So how does that tie into season?
Ritu is season, and Ij is sacrificing from Yaj, weak form of root Yaj. Literally, it is sacrificing according to the season.
And so that becomes a word to mean priest because that's the one who does that.
Right.
Okay.
And they were doing it according to the time of the year and so on, yes?
Okay.
Nakshatras and actually it is about Jyotisha, in that sense. According to the season of the year, according to the time of the year, he knows how to sacrifice. So when I took these 5 names, and look at them, they are 5. Purohitam, Yajnasya Deva, the god of the sacrifice, Ritvij, the one who sacrifices according to the time of the year, Hotaram, Hotri, the invoker, the summoner of the gods, and the bestower of the greatest bestower of the riches. And here we have 5 definitions. 5? Yeah.
Okay.
What I noticed here was very interesting, that Purohitam is basically the Agni who is put in front, and then I took these names, and then I noticed that the first 5, you notice 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 verses are starting with Agni, all of them. Mm-hmm. It's kind of unusual, yes, all of them with Agni in different vibhaktis. First is Agnim, accusative, second Agnih, the nominative, Agnina, the Tritiya, Agne, that Sambodhana, and then again Agnih. So, but what is interesting for me that all are starting with Agni, 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 Agni. Yeah? And then the rest 4 are not, none of them starts with Agni. So we have 9 verses. And so I started to think that time that maybe these 5 definitions are relating to these 5 different verses which are starting. And I found them relating. And this was kind of interesting. So Agni Mile Purohitams, the first one is the Purohit, the one who is the major priest, put in front. It is him. Yeah? Then the second verse is Agni Purvebhih Rishibhih Idiya Nutanai Ruta Sadevan Eha Vakshati. And here I noticed that there is an interesting, I will translate first. The Agni is adored, or should be adored, literally, Idia, should be adored because it is participle futurum or necessitatis, passive voice, should be adored, must be adored, or will be adored. And then it is said Purvebhih Rishibhih, by the first rishis, and Nutanai Ruta, and by the modern rishis. Nutanai Uta, and by the modern, should be adored.
Modern rishis?
Yes, by those, in that time they were modern rishis, because there were ancient rishis and
contemporary rishis.
Contemporary rishis, how do you call it? Otherwise. Yeah. So, but what is interesting here that it should be adored by present rishis and by the ancient ones. And should be adored by the ancient ones doesn't make sense because they are already in the past, so to say. But they are not hesitating to put here futurum necessitatis passive voice participle. So it should be adored by both, by the ancient and the modern rishis and the present rishis. So to say the ancient rishis are still doing this adoration. They are not gone. They also have to adore him. And that is quite interesting. It's kind of stepping out of time, you know. And Sadevan Eha Vakshati, he should bring here, Iha, here, A Vakshati, should bring, it's Vaksh, aorist basis subjunctive from root Vah, to bring. And subjunctive can be translated should, yeah, should bring here the gods. Now, when it is said here the gods, we are just wondering where here. And here it is on earth, yeah? So to say, into our material world, into the material frame. So we start from earth, and this is the beginning. So we move from earth up to heaven. And here you will see indications one after the other. I used that time, I remember, Chandogya Upanishad for this, of showing how these levels will be corresponding, because in Chandogya it is said that the Agni is the essence of earth, and the Surya is the essence of heaven, and Vayu is the essence of Antariksha. And these three essences of Agni, Vayu, and Surya have to be united. So I saw
Surya
the word,
Surya is the middle world.
Surya is the essence of heaven, of the upper world, and
Antariksha.
Diva.
So if we were going to correspond this to the three golas, we would say that Agni is Bhu Gola, and Vayu is Ka Gola, and Surya is Ba Gola. Is that right? Those three layers.
Okay, you're talking about Jyotisha, yeah?
Not necessarily. I'm also talking about, the beginning part of Gayatri. Om Bhur Bhuva.
Okay, Bhur Bhuva Svaha, yes. Right, absolutely, yes. Bhu is the world here, Bhuvah in between heaven and earth, and Swar is heaven.
So Surya is that, and then Vayu is Ka or Bhuva, and Agni is Bhu.
Yes.
Bhuvaha
is Surya, and Vayu is...
No, Suvaha is Surya, heaven.
Right. But you will notice interesting things. We are talking about Rigvedic view. If you shift towards Taittiriya view, the Ajurveda, there will be a different preference. There will be a shift of the whole identification. It's quite interesting to study later, but we have to come to Brahmanas and Aranyakas and see what they say about it. But that is already an interpretation. Here we leave it out, but see that it starts with this. He should bring here the gods. So we start with the earth. He has to be adored by the modern rishis, or by the, what do you call them? Contemporary rishis, and by the ancient rishis.
I liked your word, the present rishis, the ones
the
who are
present, yeah, by the
incarnated
present
now.
and ancient ones, yeah, by the first and present.
So it's basically the present rishis are the ones who are the seers of the light of Agni, the light of consciousness.
Yeah. Well, and also the first rishis, the ancient ones. They are also there. They are present, and they have to adore, or seek him with adoration. It's even better. Agni is to be sought with adoration by the ancient and present rishis.
So I'm really kind of sort of grooving on your depiction of your parsing of the grammar. That the way the grammar is constructed, the only way you can really think of it is that this adoration by the ancient seers is not in a past tense. It continues. I think that's fascinating.
Right.
So I don't know if you could, Julia, did you understand that? I'm not sure.
Well, I did, and actually I did understand that, and also to me it's this is very significant in that Madhuchandas, the seer, is that's a level of awakening of consciousness as well. That's what I guess what I was saying about that is that Madhuchandas continues to exist to those who enliven or awaken the light within, the Agni of the light of consciousness.
Right. And for this, can you imagine, this is Madhuchanda's hymn, and for him it is Nutana. They are all Nutana, and he is Nutana also. He is that present Rishi, because it is his hymn. And when he speaks about Purva Rishaya, this, that means there are ancient rishis there, and he has connection with them. Somewhere Sri Aurobindo in The Secret of the Veda says that these rishis are still there and ready to assist us in our kind of search or in our realization, in our march towards this realization. They are all there waiting to assist us, to help us out. So in a way, these are the forces of the word. Yeah? And you know that Rishi in the Rig Veda is a very interesting concept. Rishi, we have rishis and the gods. Yeah, everywhere it is written the gods, Devata, and then we have Rishi. Yeah? Rishi, you can read here, Rishi Madhuchanda Vaishvamitra and Devata Agni. And we have also Chandas Gayatri. So these three elements should be there. Devata, Agni, but Rishi Madhuchanda Vaishvamitra. So, but sometimes when the gods are speaking, the gods become Rishi. And you will read the Rishi is Indra, and the Rishi is Marut, and the Rishi is Agni, and whoever. And that is kind of fascinating because any creature or any force can be Rishi when he speaks the word, mantra. It's really something interesting to ponder upon, because that gives us a new view on rishis. Rishis are not just composers of kind of human beings, composed hymns, and that's it. These are powers which are kind of manifesting the word, the light of consciousness. And it can be God himself doing it, Indra or Agni, whoever speaks, yeah, in the hymn. And then he becomes a Rishi. And Devata is also an interesting thing, and gods. You know that is from root Dev, to shine. Is a shining substances or how to say, beings.
Soma.
Yeah, shining beings of higher consciousness. And these beings can be brought into our consciousness, into our, how to say, space, lower space, and they can widen and broaden it and change it and transform it by their presence. So these cosmic aspects of consciousness, these cosmic faculties of consciousness, which are devatas, the gods, are always brought into our space, into our lower hemisphere, into our lower consciousness by Agni. And that's why it is said here, bring here the gods. Bring here the gods. And here it's also very interesting. Ritualistically, they prepare the space. They put everywhere barahis, this sacrificial grass, on which the gods sit in a particular fashion, in a particular order, around the sacrifice, and partake of that sacrifice. But barahis itself is the word which means from root brig, to widen the scope, to open the space. So barahis is the opening of the space within our narrow consciousness. I'm speaking about the psychological symbolism. If we prepare the space for the gods to come, widen the scope, they can come and partake of the sacrifice. Now, what is the sacrifice from our side is also a very interesting thing. We can offer to the gods the clarified butter, that means garitam, and clarified butter is again a very interesting symbolism because it is produced from milk, and milk is according to Brahmanas, is the substance of knowledge. So it's an essence of our luminous mentality which is offered to them as the sacrifice. Or
could you repeat that, please? Could you repeat that, Gi? Gi is the essence of knowledge?
Right. It's the essence of our luminous mentality. our luminous mind purified and prepared. The same with soma. Soma is also distilled. The soma is the substance of our delight, of our enjoyment in this world, which is hidden in every object in this world. So it has to be distilled out of it, purified. Our feelings have to be purified, our enjoyments, and offered to these higher faculties of cosmic consciousness, to feed them within ourselves.
Right.
And they will grow by that. And we will grow by that. And our enjoyment will grow by that. Instead of enjoying it ourselves, instead of eating and partaking of the soma and of this delight ourselves, as we usually do today, yes, our egoistic being enjoys this life. We offer this enjoyment to the higher faculties of consciousness. And that is quite interesting. So that was the sacrifice. Moreover, when Agni is sacrificing the gods, and it is said many times, sacrifice here the gods. We will hear this many times in many different places, maybe not immediately here, I will look through. But in other places, Sadevan Yajati, he sacrifices the gods here, it is said. What is meant is very interesting. How can Agni sacrifice here the gods? So the gods themselves are being sacrificed. They are brought into our space here by this kind of device, by his command, by his summoning, by his calling, by his commanding them to come, and they come from above and from within himself. They reach to the surface of our consciousness. And that is a great sacrifice of the gods, because they come into this narrow space which is not refined, not transformed, and needs transformation and refinement. And they do the work through this Agni. They transform our consciousness. And it's a great sacrifice of the gods here. So they are being sacrificed. And that's why Rutyaj demands accusative case, yes? Dvitiya vibhakti. When we sacrifice, as we say, to the gods, it's not really true. Sadevaneha vakshati. He brings here the gods. And by bringing them here, he sacrifices them. Because their luminous substance is much higher than ours. And it requires a lot of effort, and that is the sacrifice. It's quite interesting. So it's a mutual process. We give our delight and our purified mentality to them, for them to come, and they come here, they also being sacrificed. So this is a mutual sacrifice is going on from both sides.
I hate to bring up a lower text, but in Bhagavad Gita, where it says the gods and man need each other for yajna.
Right.
They need each other. The man sacrifices to the gods but for the gods, it's actually they need the sacrifice for their food and for their sustenance.
Right.
So
and thus,
they need us and we need them.
Right. And thus supporting each other, he says, yes? You remember?
Yeah.
Sahayajñah prajah srishtva purovacha prajapatih, yes? Anena prasavishyadhavam eshavo astu ishtakamadhuk. This will be the cow of the desires, the sacrifice. You will support them, they will support you, and thus supporting each other, that you will reach the highest good. You're absolutely right. This is it. This is a mutual sacrifice. As in Chandogya it is said that for man who lives on earth, the heaven is heaven, and for the gods living in heaven, the heaven is earth. It's a reverse view.
So why is it that the heaven for the gods is earth? That's a secret, I think.
Exactly. For them, it is the heaven, because they have to bring that higher consciousness into the manifestation. And by manifesting it, they will reach the highest good, the higher consciousness that they have. And you can find this confirmation only in the Veda, that it is through this sacrifice coming down to the physical consciousness that the gods, the higher powers, can reach to the supreme consciousness, to the highest throne, and see from that throne the Aditi and Deity both simultaneously, to see the finite and infinite consciousness. They don't have this opportunity without the sacrifice. So for them, there is also an achievement to come here down, but it is also a painful thing. They are not very keen to come down here. So they need the help of Agni. Okay, so let us look what it is said in the third one. Agnina Raimashnavad Poshameva Dive Dive Yashasam Viravattamam. By Agni Raim Ashnavat, you should realize this Rai, this luminous wealth.
With Agni? Through Agni?
Yes,
yeah,
by
by
Agni.
or with.
By Agni, or with the help of Agni. One should realize the highest luminous realization, Raim. Poshameva, and the growth, or growth indeed, the increase, dive dive, day by day, Yashasam, the fame, Viravattamam, which creates the greatest hero strength in man. Viravattamam.
What? Which creates the
greatest hero strength. I'm translating hero because
hero.
Yeah,
hero.
Strength.
Vira. It's one of the. Isn't this one of the 5 qualities of Aishwarya? Vira, right?
Yeah.
I still don't. Penn, I don't think I still heard the word properly.
Vira. Vira.
Vira, like virya.
Yes.
Like strength.
Yes.
Like vitality.
Yes.
Right.
So it's in the third line. It's the right after Yashasam is Viri. Vira. Instead of Virya, it's Vira. Do you see it? Vattamam.
Vira.
Yeah.
Yeah. At the end there.
Yeah.
Vira.
Viravattama.
Vattama. Yeah.
Viravat is the one who has Vira, who has this hero strength, or the strength of the heroes. It is that Yashas, yeah? Yashas, which is full of these heroes in it, or heroic strength. And it's quite interesting because our soul is of that quality of Vira. It dared to come down into the darkness, our soul, so to say, which we all human beings represent here, embodied beings, evolutionary beings, not the gods. The gods are rather typal beings. They are not really evolving. They're staying in their own worlds and have to be engaged with us. But we are evolving beings, human beings. And in that sense, we have a material body and have this soul in us, full of heroic strength. Sometimes we speak about the soul substance in words of Nari, Nara. We have this word Nara, which means the man, but it is actually the God, the strength of the soul. And Vira is another word for it, the hero strength. I have to say more about these things, but I don't want because the whole hymn is waiting. So in this line,
but we're
you can
not
see,
in any hurry, Vladimir.
no.
You know, we're not. We don't have a contract. You have to get through one hymn per lesson, not at all. Julia,
Yeah, because
agreed?
yeah,
Agreed.
because the dynamics.
You have more to say.
We could just spend the rest of the time on this one anyway.
Right. I wanted to show the dynamics of this growing of through the sacrifice. So the first is bring here the gods, and second, it is by Agni, with Agni, that one should achieve, should realize the highest good, growing day by day, Agni growing day by day, or this highest good, this highest wealth growing day by day, by Agni only. So we are moving towards Agni himself, so to say. If before he should bring here the gods, there was something, kind of the foundation where he should bring it. They're so adored by the rishis from the ancient and present rishis. He should bring here the gods. Now by Agni himself, that realization growing day by day, full of the heroic strength, full of the fame, has to be realized. And now we move to the next. Agneyam yajnamadvaram vishvataf paribhurasi said deveshu gacchati. And here is interesting. O Agni, yam yajnam, that sacrifice, adhvaram. Adhvaram is also a sacrifice, but a sacrifice which is moving on the way. It's also adhvan. There is a word adhvan which means the path. Usually adhvara is being translated as, wrongly translated, as that which is not hurting, yes? Adhvara. But it is not really true. It is from adhvan, moving, kind of movable on the path. The sacrifice which is...
Through Agni, the sacrifice which is moving?
Well, yeah, wait a minute. Agni, or Agni, that sacrifice which is on the way, marching sacrifice, developing sacrifice, Vishvatach, from all sides, Paribhuh, you stay from everywhere, Asi, you are embracing from all sides. You take the sacrifice from all sides, which is rising, which is moving. Sa'id deveshu gacchati, that indeed sacrifice goes to the gods. The sacrifice which you indeed embrace from all sides, that one goes to the gods. And here is a very interesting thing, because we have this sense of embrace from all sides. It's as if we are moving to the level of the space, vayu, embracing from all sides the movement of the sacrifice, that indeed goes to the gods. Now this from all sides, this what it tells us about the space. Vishvatach, paribhur, asi. But I'm kind of looking into the functionality. And the next one, Agnir hota kavikratuh satyaschitra shravastamach devo devebhir agamat. O Agni, or summoner, so to say, or no, Agni, sorry, I translated it as vocative is wrong. Agni is the summoner of the gods. Kavikratuh. Yes, the one who summons.
Summons, okay.
Kavikratuh, the one who has the power, kratu, the willpower, kratu, of the seer, of the kavi, of the poet. Satyach, the true one, chitrashravastamach, the one who has the most luminous or the most varied in light hearing or inspirations. Devo, the God, Deveb here, with gods, Agamat, should come. Now here there is a shift. If before there was that sacrifice which you take from all sides goes indeed to the gods, here suddenly he becomes the God, and together with the gods he should come. He reaches the level of the sun. This is the epithets of the sun. He is the true one, he is the God, and with the gods he should come down to us. He is of the most varied in light inspirations. Chitra, varied in light. Shravas. Shravas can have meaning of the word, hearing, and the fame. And the most famous in the light, if you like, or the most famous in the word or in the hearing. I would prefer hearing. Kavikratu, with the inspiration of the seer, or with the willpower of the seer. Kratu is that willpower, the creator power. And the summoner. And it is quite interesting that the shift, now if you start observing the shift, from the second verse, he should bring here the gods. The third verse, it is by Agni that day by day the growth should be achieved of this wealth. It is that sacrifice, the fourth one, which you from all sides embrace, which indeed goes to the gods. And finally we have this, the God with the gods should come down. So we have stages from the earth towards heaven, from the earth towards Agni, towards Avayu and Surya finally, and now we are moving into the heaven. Yadangadashu shetvam agne bhadram karishyasi tavetat satyam angirah. That indeed, what you want to do, which you like to do, karishyasi, good for the giver, dashushe, for the one who sacrifices, that indeed is your truth, O Angiras. Tava it tat satyam angirah. The truth, the bliss which you want to make for the sacrificer, for the dashushe, for the one who gives, it is indeed your truth, O Angiras. And here we have the change of the attitude. If before it was bring here the gods, take the sacrifice, indeed it goes to them, if you take it from all sides, and you, God with the God, come down to us, here is a shift towards downward look. That truth, that bliss which you want to do, that is your truth, O Angiras, which you want to give to the sacrifice. There is a change of perspective.
I'm not sure I understand the change of perspective.
Yeah, I can feel it very strongly even. The first 5 verses, you are looking as if from down up. Here now, you look from up down.
Angiras is the Angirasas is that the sacrificer?
Angiras is the epithet of Agni, and he is also Angirasa Rishi. Yeah? With that.
So the father of Agni is Angiras?
Right. He is the Angiras. Right.
So you're saying that Agni himself is Angiras is an epithet. It's a synonym for Agni.
Right. It is his synonym. His epithet.
Well, maybe that's the downward-looking perspective from the more experienced to the one who's doing the creating.
Right. Yes, and what's yeah. I have the whole article written. I will send you the article. You will compare upward and downward movement. I put them side by side, and you will see the repetition of the ideas. It's not very visible when I'm browsing through the Devanagari text, and you are not holding it in the mind, and kind of we are losing the concentration. But I will finish my presentation and will send you the article, and then if you would have the questions, and I'm sure you will have, and we can really see this beautiful vision of rising of the sacrifice up to heaven and coming down from heaven. So that truth, indeed, which you want to do to the sacrificer, to the one who calls for you, that is indeed your truth, O Angiras, your truth.
Mm-hmm. Beautiful.
And this, your truth, before he was God with the gods, come here, you true one. And that truth which you want to make, which you like to make for us, that Bhadram, Bhadra has also meaning of the delight or the good in the highest sense. That is indeed your choice or your truth or true one. And now we're moving downward, and it is quite interesting. Let us notice these things. Upatvagne dive dive doshavaster dhiyavayam namo bharanta emasi. To you, upatva agne, to you, O Agni, dive dive. Notice this dive dive was already before in the text.
Yeah,
Day by day. Day by day was before. Posham eva dive dive. And here also very interesting. Doshavastar dhiyavayam namo bharanta emas. We are approaching you day by day, or the how to say remover of darkness. Dosha vastar, vastri, the one who illumines darkness, night. Dhiyavayam, by the concentration, we namo bharanta emasi, we approach you, bringing the obedience, or no obedience, but surrender better. Namo bharanta emasi, we come bringing the surrender to you. Or the remover of darkness. Now, in the first,
or blemishes, which could you just also translate dosha as obstructions or blemishes, or so is it darkness, dosha?
Yes, dosha is also can be that what you said, but in the classical literature more than in Vedic.
Darkness more. Okay.
Yes, it's more darkness and night even, yes. But also
okay.
that, yes, mistake and anything which is out of order.
Mm-hmm.
So let me, so in this sense, Doshavastar is usually the sun. When I was doing this comparison in more than 30 years back, so I thought that this would be movement of the sun down, is Doshavastar, Doshavastri, the one who, how to say, illumines the night. And to the sun we come bringing our surrender, yes, and thinking dhiya, by the mind, higher mind, concentrating. It's the same as Gayatri. Yeah, dhiyo yonav prachodayat, our dhih, our concentration. We dhimahi about him, the sun. And that's what I was thinking that time. So Yadanga was the highest level of heaven, and this was the sun. And then we moved to the Vayu. That's what I was thinking. And the Vayu level will be next. Rajantam adhvaranam gopam ritasya didivim vardhamanam svedame. Rajantam, shining, adhvaranam, on all the paths, on all the sacrifices which are moving. Gopam, the protector of the truth, because he is embracing the truth from all sides. Ritasya didivim, so to say, shining of the truth. Vardhamanam svedame, growing in one's own home. He is growing, and there was Poshameva. There Vishvatach Paribhurasi. There was the embrace from all sides. And now, when it is embraced from all sides, it goes to the gods. And here it is growing in one's own home. And in a sense, Vayu and level of Antariksha was considered by all the Brahmanas as the level of the sacrifice itself. It is Vayu, Pavamana, who is the Yajna. It's always said because it is the house of the Yajna. And Yajurveda and Yajus is belonging to this Antariksha level between heaven and earth, where the sacrifice is made. So he is growing here in his own home, protector, or the protector of the truth, shining in Rajantam Adhvaranam, so to say, shining in all this, of all these sacrifices. And then finally, the last one, Agni himself, Sanaspiteva Sonave, Gne, or Agni, be easily available to us as father to the son, such as Svanas Vastaye, lead us to the highest good. So this was from my analysis. In brief, you can see all the comparisons and many more quotations from different texts supporting this idea, the movement from down up and returning back to Agni. Well, I lost my voice by trying to.
You have an article, Vladimir.
Yes,
you have an article that you've written about your interpretation of these verses.
The first hymn. Yes, I will send you this article, and then it will help you to just try to see what I was trying to say today. I know that it is not easy for me. Also, not easy because. It was many years back, and I never came to this first hymn afterwards because I studied the Veda much farther. I translated many hymns, hundreds of them, and analyzed them in different devatas. And today, to come back to this kind of and hold this interpretation is very unusual for me. It's like remembering my, beginnings or something.
Is that a good thing, Vladimir?
Well, it's going to heaven and then coming back down, or maybe.
But I'm not insisting on this interpretation, but I think it gives us an additional way of looking at these texts in a dynamic perspective.
I'm wondering if you, by any chance, recognize the parallels with Ayurveda with regards to Agni and Antariksham and the doshas and the light, the fire, the sacrifice, meaning every time there's a purification and a release, there's and a release into wholeness and pure consciousness, there is some dosha that is removed as well, and the sacrifice becomes even more pure and even more exalted as a result of that purification.
Very interesting, yeah, so that you brought Ayurveda in. Yes, the major principle of Ayurveda is fire only. Yeah, there is
is
no other
Agni.
principle.
Is Agni, and the sacrifice is, is what happens. The food is always, sacrificed in the interest of consciousness.
Right. And if it is completely absorbed, and then the food, then there is no ama, or there is no that kind of.
No dosha, no ama, only consciousness, only purity, and
right.
consciousness is the result.
Right. Then transformation is taking place, and we have perfect health. And perfect health, according to the Rig Veda, is immortality.
The highest heaven.
Yeah, it's immortality, and it is something which Ayurveda also subscribes to, at least theoretically. I think they took these principles from the Rig Veda. I think so.
Surely. The Rig Veda is much older than Charaka Samhita, I think.
Yeah, sure.
It was a beautiful exposition. It was a beautiful presentation. Spectacular.
Yeah. There is much to learn from the Rig Veda. Always much to learn, and there is always something more than we can see. But if we dwell on the hymn longer, we get a sense of it, the dynamics. We can have a vision of it. It's the whole vision, in 9 verses of the whole sacrificial process of offering to the higher consciousness and of that descent down. And you will notice it you will see it in the article, definitely, because I put side by side the upper movement and the kind of the ascent and the ascending movement and the descending movement. And you can compare them. You can compare what they say on the way up and on the way down. And you will have a sense of this dynamism. And it's somewhere there. Maybe it's not totally kind of understood, but intuitively I feel that there is something there waiting for us to discover. It's not the end of it's not just about ritualism, or something.
No,
there's more to it, yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm also interested, I don't know if Julia is, so, I'll certainly defer. I'm really interested in continuing to comb through and not go through quickly. And I'm also interested in it from the point of view of nirukta and really in the grammar and really understanding the variations, the richness, the layers of each word, because it's never one word in Sanskrit for one meaning in English. It's always a whole explicative process. And, so for me, I'm in absolutely no hurry. I'd like to kind of milk all the soma out of what's here.
Right.
Jules?
It's out of my league pen, but I'm happy to be part of it because...
I don't mean heavily grammatical. I mean more the layered meanings.
And maybe I will then read the hymn through once, and that will be
lovely.
Our mantra.
That would be lovely.
Let me just say something before so that we're ending on the high note and not on pragma. Julia, I don't have a great attachment to next Thursday, being American Thanksgiving. Is it an issue for you to have class, or do you have plans?
No, we don't have any plans at the moment. No, it's not Canadian Thanksgiving at all.
Okay, good. So we'll be on for next week as well. Great. I just wanted to check in on that.
Okay. Om Agnimihile Purohitam Yajnasya Devam Ritvijam Hotaram Ratnadatamam Agnif Purve Birshbhiridio Nutanayruta Sadevangeha Vakshati Agnina Arayamasnavat Poshameva Dive Yashasam Viravattamam Agneyam yajnamadvaram vishvataf paribhorasi saideveshu gacchati Agnirhota akavikratuh satyaschitrashravastamaha devo devebhiragamat Yadangadashushe tvamagne bhadram karishyasi tavet tat satyamam giraha upatvagni dive dive doshavastardheya vayam namo bharam thaemasi Rajan tam adharanam gopamritasya dedevim vardhamanam svedame son of piteva sonavegne supayano bhava sachasvana svastaye Om वांग में मनसि प्रतिष्ठिता मनो में वाचि प्रतिष्ठितम् आविराविर्मयेधि वेदस्य महानीस्थः श्रुतं मे मा प्रहसिः अनेनाधीतेनाहोरात्रान् संदधामि ऋतं वदिष्यामि सत्यं वदिष्यामि तन्मामवतु तद्वक्तारमवतु अवतु माम् अवतु वक्तारम् अवतु वक्तारम् ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः